All right, cool. Welcome to our Galactic Gazette. This is our news and spoiler segment. All right, thank you for joining us tonight. We have our spoiler segment, whatever you want to call it, the Galactic Gazette. I don't know. Maybe I'll dump that wording after a while. But we have quite a bit of spoilers. We only have one leader reveal because we kind of covered one of the leader reveals last week because we recorded so late. So I wanted to actually kind of go through the leader reveals tonight that we had. And then there's some cards that like work with him a little bit more that kind of came out with him. We're going to cover those cards first, and then we'll kind of go back and cover some of the older stuff that we missed, because there is some cool stuff. There's a couple of cards in there. I don't know why they were even bothered to be spoiled. Like there's an A-Wing that I just don't care about at all. Like it actually feels like a generic X-Wing A-Wing that we get to play with, that you just like, oh, this pilot does nothing, cost me 4. Anyway, so to kick it off, we've got Admiral Trench. JJ, you get this one. You predicted this. You're the only one. You didn't predict it, did you?
I was the first one to predict Trench.
He was the first one, but I did it. I put it in.
JJ can have it. It's fine. He's excited. I don't know what how to pronounce that subtitle.
Yeah, I was gonna say that subtitle. I think it's. I'll have to make my best impersonation, but it's chick. So it reads, Separatist and official for his keywords there. His action is discard a card that costs 3 or more from your hand. If you do, you draw a card. He deploys on 6 resources, and then he is a 4/5 Separatist official. Which reads, when deployed, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck. An opponent discards 2 of them, and draw one of the remaining cards and discard the other. Really interesting way to have that constant draw for your hand there. Actually, there are a lot of great ways for you to build a deck that has a lot of 3-cost cards if you want to go that way. And this actually goes really well with that base that has the 60 card deck minimum on here. With one of the cards that we have done here, just put in 15 vultures in that deck with this. You don't care if you discard most of those anyway, so this is a really good way to get more and more cards to your hands. There's going to be a lot of fun different combos that you can do with this particular leader. It's definitely going to see some play. I don't know if it's going to be necessarily top tier competitive, but it's definitely going to be a lot of fun for sure.
JJ, you glossed over the biggest thing about Admiral Trench.
Yeah, go ahead.
His deploy is an action. You pay 3 resources, and he deploys. It's not an epic action.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I completely missed that. Yeah, you're right.
So you actually have to pay the resources to put him out, but you just keep putting him out, like whatever, because it's not an epic action. You can do it more than once a game.
That's pretty awesome.
And not like the way where you have to eject Poe kind of way, the actual way of multiple deploys.
That's pretty awesome. I like it.
Which is why presumably his stats are so low for a 6. He's a 4/5.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if he was like a 6/8 or a 5/8 or something like that, and then you just be able to keep putting them back out for 3 resources?
Pay all 6 resources, we'll be good. But yeah, no, so it's even wilder that he's got multiple times where you can like dump 3 cards, draw 1, right?
Hey, you could tutor through your deck like crazy with him.
I'll cycle more. A tutor is specifically finding a card, but same effect. Do you think things like restock and reprocess would be really good in this deck? We'll find out.
Yeah, there's reprocess. There's what's that 4-cost remnant card or whatever that lets you draw units.
Yeah, remnant reserves, but that's just digging further.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So there's enough digging cards that this is crazy. And actually, like when we hit Twin Suns, we're gonna do another Twin Suns episode once they reveal everything. Because like, could you imagine like with him and Afra like as a Twin Suns leader? Like that'd be hilarious.
Oh,
just double yellow, but
yeah.
You're discarding cards, drawing cards. You got both of them out there.
Yeah.
You will run through your deck faster than any person ever is having Twin Suns.
It'll be great. It'll be great because we're going to get 80 cards, baby. So it's going to be fun. I'm 100% running that as soon as we get that. that'll be my first Twin Suns deck building. It's going to be an Admiral Trench and an Afra. So yeah, I don't know. I think this is going to be good. I don't know how competitive it'll be per se, but this is going to allow you to find, like, we've seen where like something like a Yoda can be like decent into the meta because Yoda can get specific cards that Yoda wants sometimes. We had that Search Your Feelings card in Villain Blue for all those Iden decks, first set. Like that, it didn't really take off, but outside of a couple of niche cases. But now you're take all of these cards that have this effect and then put them with this leader, and I think there's something to it, but we'll see. I'm excited about it just because it's Admiral Trench. Like, I'm just super excited that we got Spider-Man in the game. Like, just here you go.
But not actually Spider-Man, like magic.
Yes, not like definitely not like that. So let's keep moving. I'm gonna cover Swarming Vultures because that was my thing in X-Wing, and that's gonna be my thing. I am committed to bringing a deck that has this card in it in some way, shape, or form, and somehow getting a bunch of these vultures onto the board. So it is a 2/2/2. It's neutral, so you can put this in whatever bloody deck you want. It's a Zeppardus droid vehicle fighter. Your deck can now hold 15 copies of this. So by the way, when you get all these extras from like buying your case of cards, you don't gotta worry about it. You can always have them. Like, it's great. Like, I'll have a use for
hyperfoil vultures.
Yep. As soon as they go on the market for super cheap, I will buy as many as I can just to have them. This unit gets +1 for each other friendly swarming vulture droid. So essentially, they just kind of work with themselves. They give themselves attack power. You will be very sad if somebody plays to clear the field, though. Just as an FYI, your whole game goes to shit if that happens. So probably will not be a big thing, but this will be a fun like little thing that you can splash in. And like I said, I am 100% committing to putting these on the board, and I have my minifigures. I'm gonna have I want to get 8 of them on the board, and I'm gonna put my 8 of my vultures from X-Wing right on the board. And you can tell me which game we're playing. We're gonna play Swoo. We're gonna play X-Wing. Yeah. So if you guys want to sell your hyperfoil vultures, you know who to just contact me. I don't, like I said, I don't care how viable it is. I will 100% play the hell out of this card. Yeah. So I'm excited. Next thing we need is a card that lets them land on rocks and rotate and shoot other players for Twin Suns. That's what I.
We need the rock upgrade for the vultures.
The struts and the rock upgrade. So you have to somehow draw both of them and play them.
Yeah.
Or you can have a strut that says take your set aside rock token and put it into play underneath attached to your vulture.
Yeah.
All right, Alex, you're up. What's the next one? Unless you have something you want to say about how much you love vultures.
They seem okay. Up next, we have Invincible. It is a 6-drop yellow villainy. It is a 6/6. It is a separatist vehicle and capital ship. It is a legendary card, unfortunately, because it's very heavily tied to one leader, I would think. So it reads, if you control a unique separatist card, this unit costs 1 less to play. And when you deploy a leader, you may return a non-leader unit that costs 3 or less to its owner's hand, which is sort of the opposite of what Trench does. But JJ told me this is Trench's ship. And just bouncing anything that costs 3 or less every time you deploy Trench seems pretty cool.
Yep.
Also a 6/6 for probably a 5 because you built your deck like a normal person. Isn't too bad in space, especially because it's also a capital ship. So you can get the Piet's energy, I guess, if you try to go yellow Piet, which would be interesting because you have TDR and all that stuff. So.
Yeah, that's actually a good question. Like, do you think this can work with him? Because like, what would you be bringing back? I mean, you could be bringing back your P-38s, right? And that allows you to
you can just bounce your opponent's stuff.
Too.
Yeah. So just if they have like village protectors or Kongor Dawn interceptors, Or, a swarm of vulture droid. You can just bounce it.
Mm-hmm.
But not a squadron of vultures, because that's actually a card.
It would be funny though if I could play this with Trench and play my swarming vultures with Trench. Maybe that's what I'll. At least it'll be
Go for
thematic.
it. So yeah, that's a pretty cool card. Doesn't seem like amazingly powerful, but it seems pretty solid, especially in a Trench deck, or I guess Piet. Like if you have a Separatist Piet deck, it could cost 4, right? Which is pretty scary.
Yeah, I like this card personally. I think it's pretty good. So, I haven't built a Piat yellow deck. I have a Piat red deck that I built that will cover next week or the week after or something like that. I have a fun one that I've been messing around with. So, yeah. All right, up next, JJ, what do we have here?
All right, so we got the one cost I have you now tactic card that comes in with a yellow and villainy aspect and reads: attack with a vehicle unit, prevent all damage that would be dealt to it during this attack. Actually, very, very solid card. It would be excellent if this could also be a smuggle card, but we'll take with what we get. Being able to attack with a vehicle unit and basically prevent any damage that would go to it is absolutely strong. You think about all those TIE lurking phantoms or lurking TIE phantoms that have to deal with any sentinels out there. Being able to attack with your lurking TIE phantom and potentially just kill the sentinel unit outright without taking any damage is really, really strong. Or even if you just have a unit that just needs to survive an extra round, like a leader unit that's on there, being able to eliminate a unit without taking any damage would be really, really strong. Definitely really good against some of the larger capital ships that we normally see out on the board, like an Avenger or Devastator or anything like that. Just being able to chip away at that damage, at that health with that is absolutely great. So this is something we're going to see quite a bit in a lot of these decks.
Do you think so? I mean, like, do you play this over shoot first?
If you can't guarantee that you're going to take, you're going to be able to fully kill that ship, especially if you're attacking with the Sentinel unit, I would absolutely put this over shoot first, mainly because you're not only dealing damage and not taking any return, your opponent now has to deal with that Sentinel unit that you're attacking with again and taking the damage at that point from it. So you're essentially doubling the damage from your Sentinel unit that you're using this on, and your opponent, you're protecting your base at the same time. So
yeah, I can see it having like different uses than shoot first, which I think is actually a pretty good comparison. But like I think it's solid if you're really pushing for a vehicle deck and the meta becomes a lot of space units and space sentinels. Seems pretty solid, especially if you're like crashing one of your ships that has your leader on it into another vehicle, or whatever that you're piloting. The more health you can save off your deployed pilot leader, the better.
Mm-hmm.
I guess. I don't know. It's we'll see, I guess. I don't see it as a thing that I would probably run personally, but maybe. So I think we'll see. I think it'll be good in draft. Like that's a really good card for draft, especially because you don't get a lot of removal cards in draft comparatively, and this actually just kind of like is an enhancement if you're going to run villain yellow, because it's just like it's like shoot first, but it's not, and you're going to have a lot more vehicles in this one, and so it's going to be kind of cool to see. Alex will have a breakdown when we get ready for the set to launch to talk about that, because that's what Alex does that every time we go through that. So you better start your doc, buddy.
But just think, if I have you now, I can kill your Devastator with my Devastator. It'd be totally fine.
And if your Devastator has damage on it, you just overwhelmed the base, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
See?
All
perfect.
Right. All right, up next we have Victor Leader. We got that advanced X1. Look at that ship. It is a 3-cost 2/4 Imperial vehicle fighter. Each other friendly space unit gets +1/+1. Solid card. It'll be super fun to put Vader in it. I actually hope we get a Vader unit, like separate from his leader unit, but I don't think we will. But that would be really fun to just be able to put any old Vader in it. I don't know.
I mean, it is Vader's ship, right? Like
Yeah.
that's his whole shtick. So
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it's okay. It's not like, I don't think this is like super amazing, but it is, because it's like a 2/4. So if you don't have something to upgrade it, it's not going to be very good. But if you're going to go through the upgrades for the ship, like, then this is probably a good ship because it'll live longer. I don't. All right. Well, let's move on. We have our next one. Alex, what do you have next for us?
we have the TIE Ambush Squadron, which is that's a very clunky name, but I get it because it's got to be a unit. So it is a 4-cost 2/3. The green villainy card is Imperial Vehicle and Fighter, and it has Ambush, unsurprisingly. And then when played and when defeated, create a TIE Fighter token. I actually kind of like the theme, right? Because it's an ambush squad, you're getting ambushed by 3 TIE fighters. One of them actually attacks you, the other 2 follow it up. That's cool. I think it's expensive for 4, but it's kind of cool.
I mean, we kind of have that with the droids, and that doesn't see much play.
I'm sorry. I think this card, specifically in the Thrawn deck, is absolutely awesome. You're getting 4 TIE fighters for the price of 1. You're basically getting 4 1-costed TIE fighters, one of them being a 2/3 TIE fighter on there. This is great. I absolutely like this a lot. You just bring this in, you smash it into a particular ship in there. There are a lot of, the most common Sentinel piece that we're seeing right now is the Black Sun Enforcer, which is already a 3/2. This takes that out, and then you get 2 additional TIE Fighter tokens that come in addition to the one that you already just created with this particular card. So you go in there, remove a Sentinel piece, and now you have 3 TIE Fighter tokens available to you on the board with the stroke of 1 play. Like, this is an auto include in a Thrawn deck. I think it's great. Outside of that, it's a little tough, but still, this is awesome. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I can kind of see it in like the new Vader if you're going for like space or like an IG-88 deck, I guess, because you're dropping 2 to 3 units because you don't really have to ambush, I guess. But I'm not like super enthused about it.
I don't like it. If it's just me, it's not my thing.
The art's
I guess
really cool though.
Yeah, the art's amazing. It's gonna look really cool in a hyperspace. So I'll collect them. But I guess in a Thrawn deck it's okay, But what are you doing with all these 1/1/1 TIE fighters? Like, oh no, I'm gonna ping you for 1. If you don't have anything with exploit, it's kind of like, And like, you're right, it kills a Black Sun Enforcer, but that Poe that's out there that we saw last week, you ain't killing that Poe. Poe's on his black one. He's going to ambush. That's going to ambush into Poe, and he's going to laugh. He's going to be like, "Did you just throw a TIE fighter at me? Let me just extinguish your whole board for you."
It does take all 3 TIE fighters to kill a Concord Dawn Interceptor too.
Yeah,
that's fair. Yeah,
like this might have a little play in something like I could see using this maybe a little bit in Pelp. It's still pretty expensive though. So like personally, it's not a good, like in my opinion, it's not that great, but like this has kind of got like a Poggle-ish theme to it. Like really, I think this thing should just cost 3. Just or have maybe a little bit more attack power, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So. All right, JJ, what's up next?
All right, so we got the 2-cost Wingman Victor 2, which I believe is the one that flew into Darth Vader in the trench before screaming to his death. So this is the green.
Poor Mauler.
I know. This is the green and black aspect card coming in at 3/2 as a ground unit, and then for piloting, he deploys on a 1. And he reads, when played as an upgrade, create a TIE Fighter token, and it gives a +1/+1 for that. Pretty decent, cheap units that you can put on very early. I mean, heck, if you have a one-cost TIE fighter, you can put them right into that TIE fighter on turn one if you have both of them on there. Really easy to get in on there. And on top of that, when you attach him as an upgrade onto that TIE fighter, he creates another one. So you're getting essentially 3 cards on turn one, which can be really good if you're playing a very aggressive deck. I could definitely put this in a Tarkin deck right off the bat too, to just keep pumping up that early attack force from the beginning, and hopefully do some serious damage to my opponent before they can take out that particular unit there. So definitely could see some play in a lot of different units, even a Gideon, a Moff Gideon deck as well. This could definitely see some decent play too. So.
Yeah, I mean, a 3/2 for 2 ground unit isn't bad to begin with, but a super cheap pilot's really nice. I mean, the stats are what you expect from a one-cost pilot. That gives you another token, so yeah, it seems pretty solid. And smaller. Smaller's fun.
I wish he had a combination with Backstabber, because that would be super fun. Just give me a Mauler Backstabber combo.
Kind of like a Zuckuss and Forlon, right? Like if one is there and the other one is there, yeah, that'd be great. Yeah,
that would be fun. We don't have that, but that would be fun. All right, the next one we have is Corvus. It is another vehicle Imperial capital ship. This one is saying, "Hey, if you want to run Piat and Blue, we're going to give you something else." This is a 5-cost ship, right? And this is Iden. Is it? This is Iden's ship, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought. Which is really cool. I wish they would have had this in X-Wing. Like, that would have been a really cool ship to have around in X-Wing.
They do for Epic. It is a title for it. But
is it? Okay.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
Raider, right? So
yeah. It is just a Raider, but I didn't know that it had we had a title. So I guess I should go through my cards. I could play it Corvus then.
Oh yeah.
If it's any good. This is a 4/5 for 5. It is a restored 2, which is pretty good. Actually, it's really good, I think. And when played, you may attach a friendly pilot unit or upgrade to this unit. So I don't know. I guess, Alex, I'm just a rules question. I'm assuming that is something that has to be in your hand, or is it something that is on the table?
No, I would assume it's something that's not in your hand because it doesn't say play. So it's like you drop the spaceship, it picks up a pilot, and now it's in there, kind of thing.
Okay.
Or I guess they can jump ship from another ship onto that one too.
And it does say friendly, thank God. Because if that was not on there, that would be a travesty. Like, oh, I get your Poe, thank you. But we haven't covered Poe yet. Shoot. Anyway, so sorry. But like, obviously it's meant to work with Iden. Iden can come out right on the ground. Next turn, you could play this, put her as a pilot in there. I think this is super cool because this is literally like, you're literally playing a unit you have on the ground. Like, so if you play this late game, you could take like a bigger unit and stick it in there, right? Like, that has piloting. So like this card to me, like, we've seen some legendaries. To me, this feels more legendary than some of the other cards. The only downside to this is the 5 health. That's it. So it's a 5 health ship that can be taken down until you put a pilot on it. Then it no longer can be taken down, but then you could fell the dragon. So pick your poison, baby. But it's got 2 restore on it, which I just like. I don't know. I think that's going to be super big in this game. I kind of like this in Kira too, but that's just me.
You don't like it for a Saj? Give it +3/+4 grit.
Yeah.
With restore 2.
You could do that too. I like it with the Saj too. Yeah. So I haven't looked much at it.
Restore 2 grit unit.
Ugh. So I don't know. I like it. I think it's cool. Obviously, capital ship themed. So
And Imperial.
Yep,
Might
that's
be
true.
interesting in Gar Saxon, honestly. Because Gar Saxon, you generally don't get like a 2 amount of restore unless of the client, but whatever. But speaking of Iden, she's next. She's a 4-cost blue villainy unit. She's a 4/3 shielded, but she's also a pilot that gives +3/+3, and you play her for 3. And when this upgrade attaches to a unit, give it a shield token. Seems pretty solid. I mean, you could, on your turn, like, play Iden. Next turn, swing in with Iden, lose the shield, do 4 damage to someone, play the Corvus, pick her up, give the shield to the Corvus. Probably what they were trying to go for there. It seems pretty cool.
Yeah. And even if you don't have her on the ground, even if you get her, like, you can still play her on Corvus either which way and give it a shield unit.
Yeah.
And she costs 1 less for that. So
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's +3/+3 for 3 seems also like pretty good, right?
Yeah.
When especially because you're giving them a shield token.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think of any other like piloting 3 cost things like that. All I can think of are like, you know, like the Dengars and the IGs, but those are cheaper. Actually, those are 2 costs. So maybe I'm just like way off on the scaling for 3 and 3s because like Chewbacca comes out for a 3.
Yeah.
So seems good.
Yeah. I like it. I think it's good. I like her. It's fun to see her as a pilot. So JJ, you're up next.
All right, so we got the 3 cost Interceptor Ace. He comes in as a blue and villainy aspect with a 2/3 as a ground unit with grit. As a pilot, he can deploy on 3, and attached unit also gains grit, and it gives a +2/+3 there. Pretty generic pilot on there. It's nice to have that extra grit on there, especially if you can give it a shield afterwards. Can potentially, really buff up the offense on a particular ship. But it's pretty good to have on the board there, especially if you're looking to put this on a sentinel unit in space that can just get stronger as it takes more hits, and potentially you can swing in for even bigger damage. So could see some play in certain decks on there, but overall just pretty much an average pilot. So.
Yeah, the unit side I don't think it's particularly good, right? A 2/3 for 3 grid's not good unless like you have Grand Inquisitor, right? But the 2/3 piloting grit seems pretty good. I mean, it's the same cost as I did, so but just giving like grit to like a big ship, like if you throw it on like the Invincible, right? If you're playing that, and then suddenly now it's a 8/9 with grit, and that gets really terrifying. So I think it's cool. I'm glad it's villainy and not like something Luke can use, because that'd be a little bit terrifying.
Oh yeah.
No,
yeah,
I mean,
I think it's a little bit.
Is it who JJ? Who was the Imperial pilot? The plant from was it the Resistance? It was Resistance, wasn't it, or was it Rebels? Who is the one that was the Imperial plant? Because it's Ezra. It's Ezra, right?
I believe so. Yes.
Yes, it was Ezra. So secretly, this is our Ezra. That's what this is. We don't know it yet, baby, but this is Ezra.
Yeah, right. For real.
All right, let's keep moving. We got a lot more to go. We got Wingman Victor 3. This is our backstabber. He is a 3 cost static 4/3 just on his unit side. If you want to pilot him, he is a 1 cost upgrade, and when played as an upgrade, you may give an experience token to another unit. And he's basically a 1 cost 1/1 that gives out an experience token. So I think mixed reviews. If we're able to maintain a board state, this becomes a staple in villain if you're going to run a piloting deck. If we don't have the ability to maintain a board state, I guess he's okay. 3 costs 4/3. I mean, it's a little above curve, but like really, it's just he's not got Sentinel or anything on it, so your health is gonna suffer. But I don't know. It's okay. Yeah. It's okay.
It seems perfectly fine. Yeah. Again, like a Vader deck where you're trying to go wide with a bunch of TIE fighters or like Tarkin or something. Just more experience, right? So it's cool that they also, I mean, it's just cool that they have like Mauler and Backstabber in here.
Yeah.
But then they don't name, Vader for Victor Leader.
Yeah, we'll see. So, all right, what's the next one?
We got the Tie Dorito. Look at that.
Yeah,
The Tie
finally.
Dagger Vanguard. It is a 3-cost, just pure villainy. 2/2. Is a first order Sith vehicle and fighter traits, and then when played, you may deal 2 damage to a damaged unit. It is like a slightly cheaper, more constrained TIE Interceptor. But it's also a 2/2. It seems okay. I mean, it's good that it punishes indirect damage, which is nice. Yeah, I mean, it just seems perfectly inoffensive. It's okay. It really kind of depends on what other pieces you build around it for it to be effective. It's not terribly effective on its own.
Yeah, agree. I think probably in mass, this could potentially be good, right? Because you can essentially, hopefully, have a designated damage unit out there that you can target to deal that 2 damage, or if you're trying to build up some grit and then swing in with a damage unit that has a greater offense, you can kind of self set that up too if you want to. I think the strength of this probably comes more in the mid game or late game, not necessarily something that you'll play later on. Although I could definitely see this being a really good add-on for like a boss deck if you're able to put out damage on a unit out there that has a bounty, and then you just deploy this and automatically deal damage. Best part about it is that you're not dealing just to any particular like just space. You can choose either ground or space for that, so it offers a lot of flexibility. So there'll definitely be uses for certain decks that can really take advantage of damaging units, like just ping them on and off. And yeah, this is going to see some play for sure.
I like it. It's okay. Again, these are they're just generic things. They're cool for what they are.
And it's a pure villainy, so they can't specialize it too much.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, so the next one we got here is the 3-cost Sith Trooper. This is also a villainy aspect only. First Order Sith and Trooper coming in at 3 and 3. It reads, on attack, this unit gets +1 for this attack for each damage unit in the defending player controls. Definitely something to consider for the Phasma deck, like one that we saw last week. It's something that could definitely take advantage of Phasma's ability on there, especially if you're dealing indirect damage to your opponents and then you're swinging in with this particular card. This can do some serious damage to any like big units that are out on the board on there. This can absolutely finish some big Sentinel pieces out there that have like high health, especially like Wookiees, for instance. That just have a ton of health and you can finish them off pretty easily. Would be really great if you could get some overwhelm on this as well, through like different card effects, so you can like just completely wreck through a already like weak character and just deal damage to a base that way. But that takes a lot of setup. But still, it's an okay card.
Does it? You have a Maul. Maul does that. I mean, Maul gives it a bomb. So
yeah.
Again, it punishes your opponent for putting in the indirect damage on their units instead of their base, which I'm all for.
Yeah, I actually do think these have some play, in this set at least. So I think we'll see what people do with indirect damage. But the stuff I've been playing against, people are not putting it on their base; they're putting it on their other units, and
right. Which is what the Sith Trooper punishes, because if they have like 4 units wide and they're all damaged from indirect units, this is a 7/3.
Yeah. And you can ECL this stupid thing in. And,
you could like timely smuggle it in for 5 and still be like a totally reasonable play.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think at least to begin with, this card definitely has play. So.
I dig it. And also the art's really cool.
All right. Up next, what do we got?
Oh, man. I love this card. No glory, only results.
Yes.
It is a 5-cost blue villainy tactic. It's an event. Take control of a non-leader unit, and then defeat it. So obviously, this works really well if you take control of something like with a when defeated ability, and you have Thrawn, right? That's probably what they're trying to go for.
Yep.
Which is disgusting, but also it's just a 5-cost kill whatever they have card.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I guess is kind of like Vanquish, but you get a marginal benefit if you're playing something like Thrawn. But also, you can kill TIE Phantoms with that, because you now control the Phantom, and they don't, so it's not an enemy card ability.
Yep.
Which is a nice little niche use of it.
So I gotta ask Chris, you know who said this, right? Whose quote this is?
This is Vance or something like that, isn't it?
No, this is Thrawn. So this is when he's the Battle of Adalon, and he's like, oh, he's hogging all the glory. He's like, I do not require glory, only results for my emperor. That right at the Battle of Adalon.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, like Alex said, this is an awesome card. Now, my question on the interaction of this. Let's say you use this, for instance, on a crate dragon. Do you take control of it before the effects of the crate dragon take effect?
You stack it whichever way you want. It works like Change of Heart.
Oh man!
So no matter what, your opponent will get the 5 damage with the crate dragon. It's just your choice on if you want to do it before or after you kill it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because if you play Change of Heart, they can do the 6 damage to their own crate dragon if they want it to. They probably don't because that's silly, but you can. So, works presumably the same way.
Okay.
Because, no matter what, you played a card, right? Even if you take control of, a Kiadi Mundi, and this is your second card you played, they still get to draw 2, because you still played 2 cards. When Kiadi Mundi is there, you just get to stack which effects you want to happen first.
Yeah. So obviously this is meant to be played with Thrawn. And so the question is how many good cards are there that you can steal from your opponent that has when defeated that we normally wouldn't get, right? So I just think of Yoda as a great one, because it's like, oh, you put a Yoda with a lightsaber? Yeah, that's my Yoda, thank you. And oh, I get to draw a card off this too? Thanks, I like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're playing villainy, then any of the heroes, if you're going against them with when defeated effects, are really nice. It sucks if your opponent has Stella Guerrera, right? Just kill her yourself, take 2 damage, and find tactics, because this is a tactic as well, and blue tends to have a lot of tactics.
Oh man.
Go on.
I was say you can also so if you take control of their Evistan and you kill it, do they get to ready resources because you technically control it when you kill it?
Yes, they would. They can do that. Don't do that.
I'm not saying you should. I'm just saying so you just gotta think about that. But that's hilarious
because you gain control of the unit. So they collect the bounties or whatever's on them.
Oh man. So folks, load up your bounty people so that when I play this with Thrawn, you can reap the benefits.
Hey, there is a card that we already spoiled, that's already out there, called the Radis.
Yes.
If you remember, it is a green cost 8/6 that when defeated, you deal damage equal to this unit's power to an enemy unit.
Mm-hmm.
So you take control of that, you kill it, and then you do 8 damage to one of your opponent's units.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. There's just a bunch of stuff you could do, like take control of someone's raider, do 2 damage to their base, do somewhere else.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's a great card, personally. So
I think it's just better than Vanquish, right? Yeah. It's the spot of Vanquish, but it's slightly different, slightly better.
Yeah, at least in villain, it's better. You don't want to play this for 7 and
right.
In hero.
Yeah, don't play this in hero.
All right, the next one is a 9-cost disaster event called Nebula Ignition. You can see a ghost and a couple of Y-Wings are trying to escape that. Pretty crazy. This is a legendary card. It's a 9-cost defeat each unit that isn't upgraded. Feels like no glory only results. Could have just been neutral and it would have been better than this. I don't know. This isn't bad. I guess it's a I don't know. It's better than Christophus, right? Like,
Well, you don't wipe. It's not a one-sided board wipe. Like it does hit your own units too.
Yeah.
Which obviously you want to try not to do. But yeah, I mean, like it works well, I guess, if you have a lot of pilots on your ships. You're going for those kinds of upgrades things, and then you can just board wipe because your opponent doesn't have upgrades, I guess, and you let the game go to 9.
I don't know. It's
I mean, if you have no units, this is just blow everything up on the board.
Yeah, I think Super
Ish.
Laser Blast kind of better, right? Because you,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's just better, honestly. Yeah,
Pod Super Laser Blast hits your own units, so if your units are upgraded, like I don't know, you're playing Kira and you're giving him a shield, I guess, or Gar Saxon runs a lot of upgrades, or you have a lot of pilots, or whatever.
yeah, that's true.
It just seems a little bit expensive, but also it is kind of a board wipe, so I get it.
but it's a conditional board wipe.
I understand.
So like and everything's gonna be upgraded in the future. So like I don't know. Like
just run all the confiscates.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
it seems okay.
yeah, it doesn't seem like a legendary card. But that's just me.
Yeah.
I could be wrong about that, but I feel this is an unlegendary legendary.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's all of the villainy cards that we have to spoil this week. We'll be back and have some more of the hero cards in the next segment.